Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine. So as usual, we've got a great dialogue for you today. And before we get going, I should mention what the topic is. So Marco, take it away.
We are actually having a small fight at the office. Somebody or a coworker is annoying us. So, sometimes coworkers, you see them every day. They're doing something that's maybe getting on your nerves.
And you practically live together because you're with each other for 8, 9, 10 hours every day.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, some language related to this topic. So let's listen to the dialogue for the first time.
Hey, Mary, can you cut that out?
Cut what out? I'm not doing anything.
The tapping of your pen on your desk. It's driving me crazy.
Fine. By the way, would you mind not slurping your coffee every time you have a cup?
I don't slurp my coffee. And plus, how can you hear it when you're shouting into your phone all the time?
You've got to be kidding me. You're complaining about me talking on the phone when you go out for a cigarette break 10 times a day to shoot the breeze?
Look, we have a lot of accumulated anger from working in these conditions, and it's probably okay to let off steam once in a while, but it's probably not a good idea to keep it up. I'm willing to forgive and forget if you are.
Fine. Let's call it truce. I'll try to be more considerate and keep the noise down.
Yeah, I'll try to do the same. So, I was wondering, you want to go out to dinner Friday night?
All right, we're back. So, I think this is a common situation, right?
So common, this might even be based on our own lives.
It is. You may not know, but Catherine and I get into fights all the time.
All the time. No, not really.
All right. So I think there was some interesting words here, but mostly phrases. So let's start with the words first on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so the first word, as you might have guessed, has to do with eating and drinking. This is called slurping. And
to
it's
slurp.
To slurp. So the noun, the thing is slurping.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very common with people who eat their food quickly.
Like soup.
Yeah, soup or,
noodles.
Or when they're eating soup noodles.
Or sometimes when you have a drink and you're drinking it through a straw, towards the end, you're just like trying to get the very last part at the bottom. So yeah, the straw slurps.
Yeah, so slurping, some people really can't stand it, and
sometimes you don't even notice that you're doing it.
No, absolutely not.
All right, so apart from slurping, what else do we have?
We've got a great word here, accumulated. So a lot of accumulated anger. The word is a verb, to accumulate.
Mm-hmm. And what does that mean?
It means to kind of grow or to become more and more.
Okay.
All right?
So you're like saving it.
Or even it's like building up. We say this oftentimes in Chicago where it snows a lot in the winter, that there's a foot of snow accumulated on the ground. That means there's a lot of snow. And every time it snows, it keeps getting bigger. Yeah.
All
so
right.
to accumulate.
So accumulated anger, your anger is getting bigger and bigger.
Right, because you never tell anyone about your anger, so it keeps building and it keeps piling up.
All right. Well, towards the end, they said, well, let's call a truce. So they want to call a truce.
All right, a truce is another word for a peace. And so this is a way that you can stop fighting and say that you and I have been fighting for a long time. We may not come to a deal, but we'll say truce. From now on, we just won't fight. Okay?
Won't fight about it. Okay.
Brothers and sisters often call truces.
Truce. And, well, if you're calling a truce, you're trying to be more considerate.
Okay, considerate, like you're saying, is a way to be or a way to act. And considerate often has to do with how you act towards other people. So it's being nice to other people or thinking about other people's feelings before yourself.
All right. So if you're considerate, then you are maybe more polite. You think about the other person's feelings before you do anything.
Exactly. Or you just say nice little things like please and thank you and I'm sorry. And these things are all ways of being considerate.
Very good. All right. So 4 great words on language takeaway. Why don't we move on now to Fluency Builder?
Fluency builder.
All right, so as we mentioned, this dialogue is very, very rich in a lot of different phrases, so let's start with a couple of them. The very first one and the title of the lesson, cut it out. Cut that out.
Hey, Mary, can you cut that out?
Right. So you're not actually saying to cut something with scissors or something.
No, it's a way of saying, can you stop that?
Stop it. Stop doing that.
Stop it. Quit it.
Okay. Cut that out. Cut it out.
So if someone's doing something that's really annoying to you, it's not very nice to say, but you can say, hey, cut that out.
Cut it out.
Or if someone's doing something mean to someone, like my brother used to hit me, my mom would say, Peter, cut that out.
All right. So it is a good mom phrase as well. All right. Moving on to our next phrase. The guy said that the tapping on the desk was driving him crazy. It's driving me crazy.
All right, to drive someone crazy means to make someone just feel like they're going nuts, or it makes you kind of angry or frustrated or tense.
But it can also be used like in a romantic sense, right? That girl drives me crazy.
It means like he can't even think about anything else.
All right.
So in this case, what drives you crazy?
When
I'll tell you what drives me crazy. When people clip their fingernails and toenails at the office.
Can't believe. Well, it drives me crazy. Like, for example, when somebody or my brother leaves his clothes lying on the floor in the living room, for example.
That's annoying too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that drives me crazy. All right. So moving on to our third phrase. This is a pretty big one, but take it as a whole. You've got to be kidding me.
All right, so this is, as you've said, a fixed phrase. These words usually go together, and it is a perfect example of sarcasm. So it's the way you say it is very important. So I could say, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." What's a good situation for this? Maybe I get to the airport and I'm running late, and I'm really happy that I get there on time, and then I see the flight is delayed 7 hours.
Exactly.
You've got to be kidding me.
Right. So it's a way of saying I can't believe it, or seriously,
Or
this
what-
isn't. Yeah. What's happening?
Or what bad luck.
Right. So it is a sarcastic phrase, but use it as a whole. Usually you don't change the subject. You don't say you've got to be kidding him, or
No,
something.
it's always this. You've got to be kidding me.
All right.
Or you've got to be kidding me. See? Different meanings with different inflections.
Different inflection. Very good. What's our next phrase?
Our next phrase is a good one because it doesn't mean what it sounds like, okay? So, to shoot the breeze,
Okay.
all right? Shoot means like you can shoot a gun, and breeze is like the wind. But here, to shoot the breeze is to have a nice little conversation, just to talk about nothing.
Okay, so not really do anything, just talk a little bit.
Right, so if we think about this in the context of this sentence, it's, you go out for your cigarette break 10 times a day to shoot the breeze.
Okay.
So this means you go outside and you just talk about nothing and whatever, and it's almost like you're wasting time just talking.
Okay, so shooting the breeze. You can say, oh, we were just shooting the breeze.
Just have a nice little conversation, nothing important.
Okay. And our last phrase for today. Forgive and forget. Let's forgive and forget.
Let's forgive and forget. These words again, like the last phrases, go together. Forgive and forget. So I could say this to you, Marco. I say, I know you've been fighting with your brother for 10 years. I say, finally, just forgive and forget. It means just put everything behind you and try and start again.
Okay, let it go.
Yeah, forgive the person, forget about it, move on.
Okay, forgive and forget. Very good. So very interesting phrases. I think they're very useful, and this is very colloquial English, right?
Absolutely. This is stuff that you're going to hear all the time, but maybe not all together
Right.
at the same time. Definitely, though, very helpful for interacting with foreign friends and colleagues.
Very good. So let's listen to the dialogue for the last time, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Mary, can you cut that out?
Cut what out? I'm not doing anything.
The tapping of your pen on your desk? It's driving me crazy.
Fine. By the way, would you mind not slurping your coffee every time you have a cup?
I don't slurp my coffee. And plus, how can you hear it when you're shouting into your phone all the time?
You've got to be kidding me. You're complaining about me talking on the phone when you go out for a cigarette break 10 times a day to shoot the breeze?
Look, we have a lot of accumulated anger from working in these conditions, and it's probably okay to let off steam once in a while, but it's probably not a good idea to keep it up. I'm willing to forgive and forget if you are.
Fine. Let's call it truce. I'll try to be more considerate and keep the noise down.
Yeah, I'll try to do the same. So, I was wondering, you want to go out to dinner Friday night?
So did you ever see the TV show Full House when you were a kid?
I did. It was a popular with the Olsen twins and all those, right?
Yeah, and Bob Saget. So there was an uncle on the show, Uncle Joey, and he always used to say, "Cut it out."
Yeah,
and he
that's
had
right.
like hand motions for it. And so cut it out is a way to say kind of stop it, quit it, you're killing me. It's like he was saying too funny.
Right.
And so whenever I hear this phrase, I always think of that early 90s TV
very
show.
early 90s.
Yeah.
Well, this whole situation with The Office as well. I think there was a TV show called The Office, right?
Yeah, there was the British Office and then there was an American version.
And it's also something about office life and how colleagues get on each other's nerves and they play pranks on each other and everyone's kind of weird.
And everyone drives everyone else crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's funny because once you start working in an office full time, I mean, everyone's maybe had a little bit of office experience, but when it's full time, you spend more time with your colleagues than you do with your family. It's really
It's strange
amazing
at times.
what makes you crazy, what drives you crazy, and what stuff just doesn't matter.
So this is an interesting topic. We really want to hear from you guys. Many of you probably work at an office, so tell us. So come and tell us what drives you crazy, or maybe what colleague is driving you mad.
You don't have to use names. You can just use nicknames if you want.
Right, so we'll be waiting for you at englishpod.com. Leave questions and comments, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Bye, everyone.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Tell somebody to stop. Cut that out. You must be making jokes with me. You've got to be kidding me. Chat. Shoot the breeze. Gathered. Accumulated. To release excess energy, emotion, etc. Let off steam. Carry on. Keep up. Stop feeling anger and decide to let it go. Forgive and forget. Stop fighting. Call a truce. Thinking about the feelings of other people. Considerate. To eat or drink something noisily. Slurp.
Let's try that faster.
Stop feeling anger and decide to let it go. Forgive and forget. You must be making jokes with me. You've got to be kidding me. Tell somebody to stop. Cut that out. To release excess energy, emotion, etc. Let off steam. To eat or drink something noisily. Slurp. Stop fighting. Call a truce. Chat. Shoot the breeze. Thinking about the feelings of other people. Considerate. Carry on. Keep up. Gathered. Accumulated.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Cut that out. Can you cut that damn music out? It's annoying. Cut that out. Hey, cut it out. You know I'm ticklish. Cut that out. Let's cut the funny business out and get back to work. Slurp. It's considered rude to slurp your soup. Slurp. The dog slurped the whole meal down at once. Slurp. He always slurps his coffee. Let off steam. You can talk to me any time if you need to let off steam. Let off steam. Sometimes exercise is the best way to let off steam. Let off steam. Letting off steam is essential for good mental health. Keep up. If you keep up the good work, you could get promoted. Keep up. This is a horrible paper. If you keep it up, you will fail the class. Keep up. Let's hope this good weather keeps up. Considerate. Sending a thank you card is very considerate. Considerate. Mary is a caring and considerate person. Considerate. It was very considerate of you to offer to help.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to another great podcast here at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to be bringing you bad news.
That's right. Actually, what we're really going to be bringing you is language to talk about bad news.
Exactly. So maybe you have to give bad news to your boss, to your parents, I don't know, somebody, and we're going to be teaching you how to do this in English.
Well, obviously, it's always difficult to tell somebody bad news, but in your second language, it's even harder. So we're going to try and help you today with some great phrases and vocabulary items.
We're not going to preview anything today. Let's go directly to our dialogue where we will be in a company and one of the employees is going to be giving bad news to his boss. So let's listen.
Now that we've been over the gory details of our disastrous first quarter, Ed, give us some good news. How are things looking for us in terms of sales this month?
Well, would you like the bad news first or the really bad news?
What? Ed, don't tell me you only have bad news.
Well, sir, our sales have dropped. No, plunged. 50% in the past month alone. We are currently overstocked and overstaffed, and our profits are falling fast. The market is in recession, and we have no way of moving our inventory or getting rid of our staff. If we consider redundancies, it would cost us a fortune because of the new regulations governing compensation packages. It's a real mess.
For crying out loud, how fast are we losing money?
How can I put this? Let's just say that at this pace, we will be filing for Chapter 11 in less than 3 months.
What? Jeez, how could this have happened? So what's the bad news?
Oh, that's the really bad news. Our suppliers suffered QC problems, and, well, half of our production is faulty. We're going to have to recall all items sold in the last quarter, and the worst part, we're going to have to shoulder this cost.
Are you joking? Get the supplier on the line now. They have to assume the cost of this mess.
We tried that, sir. The factory has gone under, and the owner apparently has fled the country.
Oh, we're doomed.
There is some really good news, though.
Really? What?
I got offered a new job.
All right, it sounds like a pretty tough time for this company, doesn't it?
But good news for the employee, he won't be jobless.
Well, I guess he knows when to get out. But why don't we take a look at some of the language now in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
So in Language Takeaway today, we have 5 vocabulary items, and well, let's start with the first one.
All right, so the boss, he's talking about the gory details of our disastrous first quarter. So let's look at the phrase gory details.
All right, so gory details.
Gory details.
This sounds kind of strange. Gory details. It seems very scary.
Well, the word gory comes from gore, like blood and guts, right?
Exactly. That's why it sounds a little bit scary to me.
Yep. So gory details mean all the little details of a negative or shocking or bad situation.
Okay, so the gory details of the meeting, so all the nasty and negative stuff.
Or the gory detail, or you could say the newspaper reported all the gory details of the murder.
Okay, very good. So gory details. So the employee was talking about how bad the company was doing, and he mentioned this word redundancies.
Redundancies.
They are considering redundancies.
Okay, so redundancies, again, it's based on the word to be redundant.
All right, and that means?
To not be needed anymore.
Okay, so redundancies are basically firing people.
It's, well, laying people off. People that you don't need anymore. They are redundancies.
All right, so this is actually a British term, redundancies, to become redundant, because in American English, you would just say layoffs.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
All right, so moving on. They were talking about redundancies and maybe they should or shouldn't lay some people off, but one of the problems were the regulations governing compensation packages.
Okay, so regulations governing compensation packages.
Regulations governing something.
So we have a noun governing noun. Well, what does that mean?
All right, so I think it would help us to understand this a little better if we listen to some examples of this pattern, noun governing noun.
Example 1.
I don't agree with the regulations governing income taxes. People shouldn't have to give away their hard-earned money.
Example 2.
We need to protect the environment. Therefore, there will be new policies governing corporate levels of pollution starting next month.
Example 3.
The lack of regulations governing city transportation has led to many traffic accidents. Okay, great examples. And, well, before we move on, this compensation packages, I guess it's all the things that the company gives you when they lay you off, right?
Right, maybe a certain portion of your retirement benefits
And
or
like a month's pay,
Yeah.
etc.
Yep.
Okay, compensation packages. All right, so moving on to our next item on language takeaway, we have to shoulder the cost.
to shoulder the cost.
All right, so if I shoulder something,
You have to carry it.
I carry it.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So basically, it's the same as the shoulder, your body.
Yep.
So you carry this cost or you carry this responsibility.
Yep. So you might also hear shoulder the burden.
To shoulder the burden.
Yeah. So it just means to carry the responsibility.
Okay, to share it.
Yep.
All right, interesting. And we have one more word on language takeaway. And the factory has gone under.
To go under.
All right, to go under.
When something goes under, a company goes under, it goes bankrupt.
It goes bankrupt. So it's not working anymore.
That's right.
All right, so to go under. Great vocabulary items here on Language Takeaway today. It's time for us to move on to the next segment of our show where we're going to look at some phrases. So let's start now with Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, so we've got some phrases that you can use when somebody's going to tell you some bad news, but also some phrases you can use to deliver bad news.
All right, so let's start with our first phrase.
So the boss is getting ready to prepare for this bad news, and he says, "Lay it on me."
He's like, okay, lay it on me.
Lay it on me.
So if I say this, lay it on me, I'm just saying, tell me.
Exactly.
So give me the bad news. Mm-hmm. All right, so lay it on me. Very informal, though.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of informal. But our next phrase, the boss is hearing about all this bad news, and he says, "For crying out loud."
For crying out loud.
For crying out loud.
All right, so this is a very common phrase of frustration.
Yep.
Right? So why don't we listen to some examples to kind of understand how we use this phrase?
Example 1.
For crying out loud, when I tell you to have the report done by Wednesday, that means I expect it to be on my desk by the end of the day.
Example 2.
We've got to figure out a new marketing strategy for crying out loud.
Example 3.
For crying out loud, you just got your driving license and you already got in an accident?
So it kind of reminds me of "oh my god."
So you're frustrated. You're just saying this phrase as "oh my god" or something like this.
Yeah. It's like, "Oh, this is so annoying."
Exactly. For crying out loud.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to our third phrase. How can I put this?
How can I put this?
So the boss asked him a direct question and he said, well, how can I put this?
So we use this phrase when we want to say something maybe a little bit more indirectly.
Right, so you're looking for words of how you can make it softer or more polite. Maybe the truth or what you're about to say is a little bit strong, so you want to soften it up a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you say, how can I put this? But then you have to complement it with, let's just say that.
Let's just say that.
Let's just say that.
So how do we use this phrase?
So, for example, somebody asks me, well, what do you mean? Why can't you come on vacation with us? And I would say, how can I put this? Let's just say that in 9 months you will hear the pitter-patter of little feet.
Okay, so your girlfriend's pregnant.
Exactly. So you're not saying my girlfriend is pregnant.
You're giving like a metaphor.
A metaphor of what's going on, but you don't want to say it directly.
Yeah.
Right?
Another example, I might say, let's just say that Michael isn't doing a great job.
All right. So maybe there are very strong reasons, or he's doing very, very poorly.
Right, but I'm just sort of not saying it exactly directly that he's doing bad.
Okay, very good. So it's a phrase that you can actually use a lot, and to be a little bit more polite or a little bit more indirect when you're giving somebody some bad news.
Exactly. Two nice sort of complimenting phrases for delivering bad news, and why don't we hear them one more time in the dialogue?
Now that we've been over the gory details of our disastrous first quarter, Ed, give us some good news. How are things looking for us in terms of sales this month?
Well, would you like the bad news first or the really bad news?
What? Ed, don't tell me you only have bad news.
Well, sir, our sales have dropped. No, plunged. 50% in the past month alone. We are currently overstocked and overstaffed, and our profits are falling fast. The market is in recession, and we have no way of moving our inventory or getting rid of our staff. If we consider redundancies, it would cost us a fortune because of the new regulations governing compensation packages. It's a real mess.
For crying out loud, how fast are we losing money?
How can I put this? Let's just say that at this pace, we will be filing for Chapter 11 in less than 3 months.
What? Jeez, how could this have happened? So what's the bad news?
Oh, that's the really bad news. Our suppliers suffered QC problems, and, well, half of our production is faulty. We're going to have to recall all items sold in the last quarter, and the worst part, we're going to have to shoulder this cost.
Are you joking? Get the supplier on the line now. They have to assume the cost of this mess.
We tried that, sir. The factory has gone under, and the owner apparently has fled the country.
Oh, we're doomed.
There's some really good news, though.
Really? What?
I got offered a new job.
All right, great. So this topic of filing for Chapter 11 is actually very recent, very common now, because recently one of the biggest companies filed for Chapter 11 in the U.S.
Yeah, that's right. But I often get confused by the phrase to file for Chapter 11 versus to file for Chapter 13.
All right, so in the United States, the bankruptcy law has different chapters or different sections, right?
Yep.
And Chapter 11 is basically for companies that run out of money, that go bankrupt, so they have to declare themselves in bankruptcy.
Yep.
And so they file for Chapter 11.
But what about Chapter 13?
Chapter 13 is for people.
Ah, okay.
So people who have large debts, maybe with the car company or the telephone company, and they can't pay, they file for Chapter 13. They say, hey, I don't have money, I can't pay.
Right, and so I guess here it's kind of a metaphor again. You know, it's this phrase to file for Chapter 11 or Chapter 13, meaning bankruptcy.
Right.
And people will say personally that they're filing for Chapter 11.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right, so this is an interesting situation because if you file for bankruptcy in some countries, you can go to jail.
I read recently about this happening in Dubai, actually.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there is prison for debts. In the U.S., you don't go to prison for debts.
But what about in your countries, listeners? What happens when you go into debt in your country?
Or what happens when a company goes into bankruptcy. Let us know. Come to our website, englishpod.com. Leave your questions and comments. And, of course, Erica and I are always there to help you out.
Thanks for downloading, you guys, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
The minimum return below which an enterprise becomes unprofitable.
Margin.
The entire amount of income before any deductions are made.
Revenue.
Having no money. Informal.
Broke.
The lowest possible level or absolute bottom.
Hit rock bottom.
Cause to rise rapidly and suddenly.
Skyrocket.
All the small details.
Gory details.
Tell me the bad news.
Lay it on me.
Drop down suddenly and quickly.
Plunge.
Very bad. Having bad results.
Disastrous.
Regarding. About.
In terms of.
Having too many things to sell.
To be overstocked.
Have too many employees.
Be overstaffed.
The amount of products you have to sell.
Inventory.
Remove or take away something that is annoying.
Get rid of.
Layoffs. Ending employment of staff for money reasons.
Redundancies.
Be responsible for the cost.
Shoulder the cost.
Rule.
Govern.
Used to express anger or annoyance.
For crying out loud.
Bankruptcy. Owing more money than you can pay.
Chapter 11.
The process of controlling the quality of production. Quality control.
Quality control. Let's try that faster.
Regarding. About.
In terms of.
Tell me the bad news.
Lay it on me.
Having too many things to sell.
To be overstocked.
Used to express anger or annoyance.
For crying out loud.
Rule.
Govern.
The amount of products you have to sell.
Inventory.
The process of controlling the quality of production. Quality control.
Quality control.
The entire amount of income before any deductions are made.
Revenue.
All the small details.
Gory details.
Layoffs. Ending employment of staff for money reasons.
Redundancies.
Remove or take away something that is annoying.
Get rid of.
Cause to rise rapidly and suddenly.
Skyrocket.
Very bad. Having bad results.
Disastrous.
Having no money. Informal.
Broke.
Be responsible for the cost.
Shoulder the cost.
The lowest possible level or absolute bottom.
Hit rock bottom.
Bankruptcy. Owing more money than you can pay.
Chapter 11.
Have too many employees.
Be overstaffed.
The minimum return below which an enterprise becomes unprofitable.
Margin.
Drop down suddenly and quickly.
Plunge.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Gory details. Without going too much into the gory details of the current economy, you should know that we expect business to slow down in the next few months. Gory details. Spare me the gory details. How are we going to survive this financial crisis? Gory details. Tell me all about your pregnancy, sparing me the gory details, of course. We need to protect the environment. Therefore, there will be new policies governing corporate levels of pollution starting next month. I don't agree with the regulations governing income taxes. People shouldn't have to give away their hard-earned money. The lack of regulations governing city transportation has led to many traffic accidents. Our insurance for a financial crisis expired 6 months ago, so we are going to have to shoulder the cost of this loss. We are going to have to shoulder the majority of the costs for this project. Many of our investors pulled out. You are going to have to shoulder the costs if you break that vase. For crying out loud. For crying out loud. When I tell you to have the report done by Wednesday, that means I expect it to be on my desk by the end of the day. For crying out loud. We've got to figure out a new marketing strategy for crying out loud. For crying out loud. For crying out loud. You just got your driving license and you already got in an accident? Let's just say that the economy is so bad that if we still have our jobs in 2 months, we will be lucky. Let's just say that if we don't come up with an exciting marketing strategy soon, we might go bankrupt. She is so incredibly gorgeous. Let's just say that when she walks by, people turn their heads to watch her pass.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're bringing you part 9 of our romantic drama, suspense, action series, I Am Sorry, I Love You.
This is actually our penultimate lesson.
Exactly. This story will end in part 10, so we're almost done. What's happening?
Well, I am pretty excited to find out, so why don't we go straight into the dialogue and catch up with Stephen and Veronica.
Veronica, wait. Come on, honey, get back in the car. Let's talk it over, okay?
No. I'm tired of your lies. I don't know who you are anymore.
Veronica, it's me, the man that has and always will love you. I'm sorry that I've lied to you, believe me. It's been hard for me as well, and time and again I've thought of coming clean. But I couldn't put you or my mission at risk. It's all over now, my assignment is complete, and now I have to go back to India.
What? Are you kidding? Is there anything else I should know before I never see you again? How could you deceive me like that?
Yes. Veronica, I know that this isn't the best time and you probably hate me right now, but I want to be completely forthright with you. I know deep in my heart that you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. Veronica, will you marry me? Come with me to India, baby. I can't make it for everything that's happened, but I can promise you my undying love. I will be the most devoted husband, and I will cherish you always.
Stephen, I can't just leave everything at the drop of a hat. With everything that has happened between us, I just don't know you anymore. I just can't build a relationship on a foundation of lies. I do love you, but I can't go with you. I'm sorry. I love you.
This is the last call for flight 815 from Los Angeles to Hyderabad.
I'm sorry, sir. We can't wait any longer. You must board the plane. Are you waiting for someone?
I was, but I don't think she's coming.
All right, so it seems like our poor Steven is going home by himself.
Oh, it's so sad.
I know, he proposed, she didn't accept, and now he's going back to India by himself.
You know, I think this must be one of the worst feelings in the world, you know, like wondering if the person you love is going to show up at the last minute and realizing they aren't.
I think it's very common of movies. You always expect the person to come running and show up, but as you can see, our dialogues are more realistic, so it didn't happen in this occasion.
More realistic. Okay. Anyway, let's not debate that topic. Let's go straight into the language now with Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so today on Language Takeaway, we have 6 words that we're going to be looking at, and let's get started with the first one.
Okay, so we've got language about love and language about telling the truth. And the first one is a word about telling the truth. So Stephen said, I've thought of coming clean.
Okay, to come clean.
To come clean.
Now, if I want to come clean, it means I want to...
You want to admit to something or to tell the truth about something you've been hiding.
Exactly. Okay, so I want to finally tell the truth or confess.
So someone needs to come clean about who stole the chocolate out of the kitchen.
Okay, come clean. So Stephen wanted to come clean on many occasions, but Veronica said, how could you deceive me like that?
Deceive someone.
How could you deceive me?
So to deceive someone.
All right, to deceive.
When you deceive somebody, you make them believe something that is untrue.
So you kind of trick them.
Yeah.
Okay, make them believe or see something that is not really true.
Exactly. All right, so that's the verb to deceive. Now the noun, the action of doing this is called deception.
It was all a great deception.
Okay, so a big trick, a big untruth.
You deceived me. All right, very good. And now the opposite of deceive
is to be forthright.
Forthright.
So Stephen wants to be completely forthright with Veronica.
Okay, I want to be forthright with you.
All right, when you are forthright with somebody, you are very honest and truthful with them, right?
Direct. You tell them the truth and everything directly.
And you don't like hide it or soften it or anything.
Very good. So forthright.
All right, so 3 words about honesty. Now we've got 3 words about love for you. So Stephen promised Veronica his undying love.
My undying love.
My undying love.
Now, undying.
Well, I think it's pretty easy, right? It won't die.
It won't die, exactly.
Yeah.
So he's offering her his love forever.
A very romantic phrase.
Very romantic.
And he also promised to be a devoted husband.
Devoted husband.
I'll be the most devoted husband.
Now, this word devoted, what am I saying there?
So as a devoted husband, Stephen really would love his wife. He'd really look after her well, and he would put all of his energy into his marriage, right?
Okay, so he would be very committed to her.
Mm-hmm. And work really hard.
Now, can I change the noun husband for something else?
Yeah, we can talk about a devoted friend.
Or a devoted father.
Or a devoted employee.
Very good. And our last word about love.
Well, Stephen also promises to cherish Veronica.
Okay, I will cherish you always.
I will cherish you always.
So if I cherish somebody like my girlfriend, what would that mean?
It means you hold her in your heart. Like you really love her and you really respect her and you hold her close in your heart.
Okay, so I respect her and maybe you don't take that person for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to cherish someone.
Yeah. All right, so some nice honesty words, some nice love words, and I think now we can move on to some interesting phrases with Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, so Veronica was upset. She didn't want to get back in the car. And Stephen said, let's talk it over, okay?
Let's talk it over.
Let's talk it over.
To talk something over.
Now, if I tell you that I want to talk it over, what am I saying?
Well, obviously you want to talk about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you want to talk about it for some time, to really talk about all of the problems and the issues and everything.
So to try and make things clear.
Exactly.
All right. And also when he was confessing, he said, time and again, I've thought of coming clean.
So this phrase, time and again.
Time and again.
Time and again.
So that's basically the same as saying again and again, or many times.
Right. So time and again, I've thought of quitting smoking, but never really have done it.
So you've thought many times of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Time and again.
Yep. All right, so let's go to our next phrase. Now, Veronica said, I can't just leave everything at the drop of a hat.
At the drop of a hat.
At the drop of a hat.
So this is a very interesting and colloquial way of saying immediately.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we hear a few examples of how this is used in English?
Example 1.
My boss expects me to come into work at the drop of a hat.
Example 2.
Laura is always willing to help me at the drop of a hat.
Example 3.
I can't leave at the drop of a hat. I need time to prepare.
Okay, so as you can see, you can change it for different things, but basically you're saying, I can't do something immediately.
Yeah, and it is almost always attached to this idea of doing something or going somewhere, being somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Very good. At the drop of a hat.
All right, now our final phrase here for this lesson. So Veronica was saying, I can't go to India at the drop of a hat. And she also said, I just can't build a relationship on a foundation of lies.
Okay, a foundation of lies.
To build something on a foundation of lies.
Now, this is interesting. Let's take a look at this. Foundation, what is that?
Well, you know you have a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the part that's in the ground that supports the house is the foundation.
Okay, so it supports the entire structure.
Right.
So here she refers to the lies as the foundation.
Mm-hmm. And that's no way to start a strong relationship, is it?
Exactly. So we use it metaphorically in this way, but we always have to say it, but we always have to use the verb build.
Okay, so it's basically to make something on a base of something else, right?
So for example, a strong relationship is built on a foundation of trust.
Or this country was built on a foundation of liberty.
Very good. So always use foundation with built.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Very interesting. And well, I think we should listen to this dialogue for the last time, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about Veronica and Stephen.
Veronica, wait. Come on, honey, get back in the car. Let's talk it over, okay?
No. I'm tired of your lies. I don't know who you are anymore.
Veronica, it's me, the man that has and always will love you. I'm sorry that I've lied to you, believe me. It's been hard for me as well, and time and again I've thought of coming clean. But I couldn't put you or my mission at risk. It's all over now, my assignment is complete, and now I have to go back to India.
What? Are you kidding? Is there anything else I should know before I never see you again? How could you deceive me like that?
Yes. Veronica, I know that this isn't the best time and you probably hate me right now, but I want to be completely forthright with you. I know deep in my heart that you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. Veronica, will you marry me? Come with me to India, baby. I can't make it for everything that's happened, but I can promise you my undying love. I will be the most devoted husband, and I will cherish you always.
Stephen, I can't just leave everything at the drop of a hat. With everything that has happened between us, I just don't know you anymore. I just can't build a relationship on a foundation of lies. I do love you, but I can't go with you. I'm sorry. I love you.
This is the last call for flight 815 from Los Angeles to Hyderabad.
I'm sorry, sir. We can't wait any longer. You must board the plane. Are you waiting for someone?
I was, but I don't think she's coming.
So, Marco, I think I see a bit of a tear there in the corner of your eye.
I'm very sad. I can't believe he proposed and she just said no, just like that.
Well,
that's not supposed to happen. And plus, he was inviting her to India, an exotic getaway, and promising.
exotic getaway for the rest of her life.
Well, what do you think will happen? Part 10, it all ends. So do you think they all just keep on living their separate lives? Will they meet again?
Who knows? Come to our website and tell us what you think will happen. So you can find us at englishpod.com.
All right, don't miss our finale of this lesson. And until next time, we'll see you guys there. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. Let's talk about this problem and solve it. Let's talk it over. The quality of being honest and fair. Integrity. Confess. Tell the truth. Come clean. Make people think there is danger when there is none. Cry wolf. Many times. Time and again. Be honest with someone. Be straight with someone. To cause to believe what is not true. Mislead. Deceive. Speak honestly. Level with someone. Fool or joke. Kidding. Tell you true information. Tell you the facts. Give you the lowdown. Direct, honest, with no lies. Forthright. Endless, lasting forever. Undying. Showing or feeling strong loyalty or love. Devoted. To treat with affection and tenderness. Cherish. Soon, in this very instant. At the drop of a hat. The base of a structure. Foundation. Let's try that faster. Speak honestly. Level with someone. Showing or feeling strong loyalty or love. Devoted. Tell you true information. Tell you the facts. Give you the lowdown. Fool or joke. Kidding. Direct, honest, with no lies. Forthright. To cause to believe what is not true. Mislead. Deceive. Endless, lasting forever. Undying. Soon, in this very instant. At the drop of a hat. Make people think there is danger when there is none. Cry wolf. Confess. Tell the truth. Come clean. The quality of being honest and fair. Integrity. Many times. Time and again. Be honest with someone. Be straight with someone. Let's talk about this problem and solve it. Let's talk it over. The base of a structure. Foundation. To treat with affection and tenderness. Cherish. Now say the word and hear it in a sentence. Time and again. Max, time and again I've told you to clean your room. It's a mess in here. Time and again. I've told you time and again that I want to break up. Time and again. Time and again, I've said that we need to rethink our strategy, but no one listens to me. Foundation. Our friendship is built on a foundation of trust. Foundation. Any relationship that is built on a foundation of distrust and jealousy is doomed. Foundation. Mike and Rachel's marriage is built on a solid foundation of love. Deceive. I thought I could trust Jack, but I was sadly deceived. Deceive. The newly elected president deceived the entire country by making false promises. Deceive. The man tried to deceive police officers by stating a false name. Cherish. Let's cherish every moment we have been given. Cherish. I cherish the memories of my childhood like a precious jewel. Cherish. Family is something that you should cherish forever. At the drop of a hat. My boss expects me to come into work at the drop of a hat. At the drop of a hat. Laura is always willing to help out at the drop of a hat. At the drop of a hat. I can't leave at the drop of a hat. I need time to prepare.